Hello everybody, this is my presentation, Abolish the Death Penalty by Hannah O'Connor. Reasons to abolish the death penalty. First is wrongful convictions. Second is cost of the death penalty. Third is arbitrariness of the death penalty. And fourth is deterrence of capital crimes. Introduction. Since 1970, 1,539 men and women have been executed in the United States. Many Americans feel that the best way to punish capital crimes, such as murder, is to sentence the individual to the death penalty, an eye for an eye. But this does not resolve the loss of a loved one. The death penalty is not beneficial in any aspect. Over the years of sentencing the death penalty, many people have been wrongfully convicted, and some have even lost their life due to errors, as well as the excessive cost of the trial of the death penalty, the inconsistencies of punishing the death penalty, and the punishment does not deter criminals from committing the crime. Wrongful convictions. Since 1973, 186 people have been wrongfully convicted of the death penalty and exonerated. According to the article in Death Penalty Information Center, as federal courts reviewed the death penalty cases, errors and official misconduct regularly appeared. An example of an exonerated inmate on death row is Wilbert Lee. He was convicted in 1963 and pardoned in 1975. Wilbert spent 12 years on death row because of false confessions, perjury or false accusations, and official misconduct. Wrongful convictions continued. As stated in the article Witness to Innocence, according to the National Academy of Sciences, 4.1 people currently on death row are wrongfully convicted. Reasons for wrongful convictions are eyewitness errors, poor legal representation, racial prejudice, false confessions, junk science, and reliance on unreliable jailhouse snitches. Cost of the death penalty. When the death penalty is an option, the court system must do super due process, which costs the courts an extensive amount of money. The pretrial costs are more complicated than non-capital. The trial is more time-consuming and can last 4 times longer, which requires more compensation, a more intensive jury selection. Inmates on death row remain in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day, which requires more security and resources. Appeals to help minimize any mistakes made during the trial are borne at the taxpayer's expense. Cost of death penalty continued. The death penalty squanders energy from the courts, attorneys, defense counsel, juries, and law enforcement personnel. According to the article Financial Facts About the Death Penalty, studies found that the average cost of the death penalty cases through execution costs $1.26 million. Non-death penalty cases through end of incarceration cost $740,000. New Jersey death penalty policy concluded cost taxpayers $253 million since 1983. As of 2021, California's Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation records show that there are 697 inmates awaiting execution in California. Arbitrariness of the death penalty. The death penalty should be held for the most heinous crimes, but sentencing can be disproportionate based on legally irrelevant factors, such as race, geography, and quality of legal counsel. Arbitrariness opens the door to racial and other forms of discrimination. The textbook Death Quest questions if the death penalty is sentenced randomly because of the discretion that is permitted. Almost all inmates placed on death row could not afford their own attorney at trial. Deterrence of capital crimes. Deterrence is the belief that people in general can be prevented from engaging in crime by punishing a specific individual and making an example out of them. Law enforcement agrees that capital punishments do not deter violent crimes. The death penalty is ineffective at reducing crime rates. An FBI study found that states with the death penalty have the highest murder rates. In 1995, murder rates in death penalty states were 8.59. In 1995, murder rates in non-death penalty states were 5.9. Conclusion. The punishment of the death penalty is irrevocable and deprives the individual from the opportunity of new evidence. Overall, the death penalty is not beneficial in any aspect. There is a likelihood of wrongful conviction. The cost of the death penalty is much more than life without parole. Arbitrariness is prevalent, and it does not deter capital crimes.